You are a slave. Not just any slave, one of the thousands of workers dragging stone for Pharaoh Khufu, the man who will become a god the moment his tomb touches the sky. Your back is sunburned, your hands are cracked. Somewhere above you, a half-finished pyramid blocks out the sun. This is your life now, or so you've been told your whole life. But stay with me until the end of this video. You open your eyes in the dark, on a straw mat, inside a small mud brick house. Your body already aches before you've moved a single stone today. Outside, the village is stirring. Not a prison camp, a real village, built from scratch just for people like you, right at the foot of the plateau where Khufu's tomb is rising. You share this house with 3 other men from your hometown. You all traveled here together months ago, when the Nile flooded your fields and left you with nothing to farm and no way to feed your family. Someone in a government office, far away, decided your name would go on a list. And that list brought you here. You get up, splash water on your face, and step outside. The air already smells like baking bread and river mud. Your crew is called Friends of Khufu. You didn't choose that name, but somewhere along the way, you started saying it with your chest out instead of your head down. A woman hands you a round of bread and a clay mug of thick, dark beer. You drink it fast. It's not for pleasure, it's calories, and it's safer than the water from the canal. Around you, hundreds of other men are doing exactly the same thing. All at once, like a small city waking up in unison, a foreman walks down the line with a scroll, calling names. When he reaches yours, you answer, and he makes a mark next to it. Miss too many mornings like this, and your name ends up on a different kind of scroll, a list of absences, along with the reason, if you're lucky enough to have a good one. Last week, a man from your crew was marked absent because he was burying his own father. Even here, even now, that excuse was accepted without question. You finish the last of your bread, and the foreman gives the signal. It's time to move stone. You walk toward the base of the plateau, where a block of limestone the size of a small car is waiting on a wooden sled. 19 other men are already gripping the thick rope tied around it. You take your place at the end of the line and wrap the rope once around your palm. You learned early that wrapping it twice tears your skin worse when the block jerks forward. Ahead of the sled, a boy no older than 12 is pouring water from a jug directly onto the sand. You've asked why before. An older worker told you, wet sand grips less, slides more. The block moves easier over mud than over dry, grabbing sand. You didn't believe it the first time you saw it. Now you'd never pull without it. The foreman shouts a rhythm. Pull, pull, pull. Your arms burn on the second pull. By the 10th, your whole body burns. This block alone weighs about 2.5 tons. It will take most of the morning to move it less than the length of a street. Hours pass like this. Pull, rest, drink, pull again. Somewhere in the haze of exhaustion, you notice something strange. You're not alone in your suffering, and that almost makes it bearable. The crew on the next rope over is called Drunkards of Menkar, an actual name, carved by actual workers, and every time you pass them, someone shouts an insult about how slow they are. They shout something back about your crew's mothers. Everyone laughs, including you, even with your palm bleeding through the rope. By midday, the sun is directly overhead, and the ramp ahead of you curves up the side of the pyramid like a long, patient snake. The block you're pulling isn't going to the top today. That's for another crew, another week. Today, your job is just to get it to the base of the ramp. 20 men, 1 stone, 1 street's length. That was your entire morning. And there are thousands of blocks left. It happens fast, the way accidents always do. A rope frays. A block shifts wrong. A man 2 positions ahead of you goes down, and the sled lurches sideways before anyone can react. Work stops instantly. Men are shouting, some pulling the injured man clear, others just standing frozen. His leg is bent wrong below the knee. Someone runs, not for a priest, not for a guard, but for the site's physician. Yes, this pyramid has doctors, stationed here permanently, because injuries like this happen often enough to need them. The physician kneels beside him, sets the bone as straight as he can, and splints it tightly with wood and linen. The man screams once, then goes quiet, breathing hard. He won't pull rope again for months, maybe longer, but here's what surprises you every time you see this happen. He isn't dragged away and left. He's carried back to the village, and someone will check on that leg every few days until it heals, or until it doesn't. You've seen the proof of this in the workers' cemetery near the site. Bones that healed, legs that were set and mended and let a man walk again. Whatever this place is, it isn't a place where broken men are simply discarded. By the time the sun drops low and orange over the desert, your arms feel like they belong to someone else. You walk back toward the village with your crew, and for a moment, nobody talks. Everyone's just too tired. Dinner is more bread, dried fish, and if it's a good week, a small portion of meat. Better food, if you're honest with yourself, than most years back on your own farm. Someone lights a fire. Someone else starts telling the story of the block that nearly crushed a man's leg today, already turning it into something between a warning and a legend. Before you sleep, you walk past the pyramid one more time, its shadow stretching almost to the horizon in the low sun. Somewhere inside those stones, buried where no visitor will ever see it, is a symbol your crewmate scratched in last week. Your crew's name, hidden forever inside a 2-ton block. You didn't understand why he did it at the time. Tonight, exhausted, alive, part of something enormous, you think you finally do. Now here's the part of your day nobody told you. Everything you just lived through. The roster, the sick notes, the rotating crews, the ration lists, the doctors, the honored burials near the pyramid. That's not the slavery you picture from the movies. There were no chains here. No one dragged you from your home in the night. You were called up, the way a modern country might draft its citizens for national service, except your service was hauling stone for a king who is also considered a living god. Historians have a name for it, the corvée system, seasonal, state-organized labor, mostly performed by farmers during the months the Nile flooded their fields and left them with nothing else to do. The image of whips and chains mostly comes from one man, Herodotus, a Greek historian, writing 2,000 years after your lifetime, repeating tourist stories he picked up on a trip to Egypt. The records from your actual lifetime tell a different story. Tax scrolls and ration lists call you by your trade, laborer, mason, water carrier, baker. And that graffiti your crewmate carved into the stone? That's not something a broken man leaves behind. That's something a proud one does. Someone who wanted history to know his crew existed 4,500 years later. You were an ordinary farmer doing extraordinarily hard, dangerous, occasionally deadly work for a paycheck, a purpose, and bragging rights carved into stone that would outlast every person who ever doubted you. 20,000 people just like you built the largest stone structure on the planet, not with chains, but with rope, wet sand, aching backs, and stubborn pride. And 4,500 years later, someone is still saying your crew's name out loud. That's not a footnote in history. That's you, still standing long after the pharaoh you built this for turned to dust.